सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। Paramatma discussed thoroughly about all three gunas and also how they bind a human being. He also pointed out the method of becoming gunatita, which is the only means to liberation. And that method which he gave in the two important verses 19 and 20th is only because of Anatma cannot become Gunatita. I repeat this, Anatma cannot become Gunatita. And Atma is ever Gunatita. And through the knowledge, I came to know that I am ever Gunatita. And using the Saguna Anatma as a medium of transaction, and when this much was taught by Lord Krishna, Arjuna raised a question in the 21st sloka, which we saw in the last class. The 21st sloka contains three questions, three parts. The first part is Gunatita Lingam. How to know the indicators that one is a Gunatita, so that I can check, I can verify whether I am Gunatita or not. The second part is Gunatita Acharaha. How a Gunatita will behave, how he conducts himself in the society. So, I can emulate a Gunatita if I don't have those acharas. And finally, the third part is Gunatita Sadhanam. How to become Gunatita, the sadhana by means of which one can become Gunatita. So, Linga, Achara, Sadhanani. These are the three questions for which Lord Krishna gave the answer. For the first one, that is Gunatita Lingam, in 22nd and 23rd sloka, which we have covered. Just to build a thread, I am repeating them again today, so that you won't miss the continuity. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Prakasam cha pravrittim cha mohameva cha pandava nadveshti sampravruttani nanivruttani kankshati. Krishna Paramatma said, O Arjuna, Gunatita does not hate Sattvaguna, Rajoguna or Tamoguna as they rise, nor does he desire them as they withdraw. So, in the first two verses, 22nd and 23rd, Paramatma answers the first question, that is Gunatita Lingam. Then in the next two verses, that is 24th and 25th, Paramatma answers Gunatita Acharaha. 26th, he talks about the sadhana, Gunatitatva sadhana. And 27th is a concluding sloka. So, two verses to answer the first question, two verses to answer the second question, and one verse to answer the third question. This is the scheme. Jnani knows that these three gunas are bound to be there, even in a Jnani. Even in a Gunatita, these three gunas will be there, but the proportion varies. For a Jnani, Sattvaguna is in the higher proportion, Rajoguna is in the milder proportion, Tamoguna is in the mildest proportion. So, nobody is 100% sattvic. These gunas vary. So, even a jnani has to undergo these variations. These disturbances, these fluctuations, even a jnani has to undergo. But jnani knows that he is beyond these three gunas. He doesn't have abhimana towards his sarira or towards his mind. So, he doesn't hate these gunas, nor he desires these gunas whenever these gunas withdraw. So this is what we understood in the last class. Prakasa means sattvagunam, pravrutti means rajogunam, moha means tamogunam. All three gunas are present even in a gunatita or jnani. But the proportion vary. Sattvaguna is more. So, this is what we have to understand. Then in the 23rd sloka, Udasina vadasino gunairyo na vichalyate guna vartanta ityeva yovatistati ningate. He remains as if he is indifferent. He is not disturbed by the gunas. He does not waver. He remains firm with the understanding that the gunas alone interact. Paramatma explains the same idea in this sloka also. Gunatita will have objectivity towards his body-mind complex. He will have healthy response. What do we mean by objectivity towards the body-mind sense complex or healthy response? Generally, when an ajnani faces a problem, he will exhibit an extreme response to the situation. One extreme response is total indifference. He is totally tamasic in his response. When the physical body has got some disease or some sickness, imagine he doesn't feed the body at all. He doesn't take medication. So this is a kind of indifference or carelessness. Inaction is one extreme. Then there is another extreme. Over reaction. The moment doctor says that you have to go through a blood test, then this fellow presses the panic button. He imagines that he is having a terminal disease. Then he undergoes unnecessary anxiety, tension, fear, stress and strain, whatnot. This is one extreme. Now, what is the situation of a jnani? Jnani is neither inactive nor overactive. He is always in his elements. He is very much balanced. He does whatever is required to the situation. He will not neglect the proper action. At the same time, he will not subject himself to a panic. So this is the state of a jnani. Udasinavat, as though he is indifferent, he appears, but he is not indifferent. Gunaihina vichalyate. These gunas, they cause turmoil, they cause troubles, they cause different kinds of issues in day-to-day life, because the body-mind complex will have to undergo gunas. Guna vartante. These gunas do, take place for a body-mind complex. So they belong to body-mind complex, not to my higher reality. That's what a jnani or gunatita will feel. Guna eva vartante. These three gunas will be there. Ityeva. So this is how he thinks. Ityeva, with this knowledge, avatishtati, he remains balanced. Without self-criticism, without self-judgment, without self-low image, yaha avatishtati. He remains with a balanced mind. Na ingate means he is not disturbed. Na vichalyate, he is totally balanced. So this is the objectivity with regard to one's own body and mind. This is the indication of gunatita jnani. So the characteristic or the indicator is that a jnani is not, having too much of attachment towards his body, mind, sense complex. He is having objectivity towards his body, mind, sense complex. He feels that he is given the body by Paramatma temporarily in this janma. He is not the body. So with that objective outlook, with that Sakshi Tattvam, he transacts in this world. So both mind and the body he witnesses. This is the indication of a gunatita. Then coming to 24th sloka. Samadukka sukha swastaha samalostasmakanchanaha tulya priya priyo dhiraha tulya nindatma samstutihi. Dhiraha, the wise man, swastaha, abiding in the self. Samadukka sukha is the same in pleasure and pain. So a gunatita will maintain the same composure in times of pleasure, in times of pain. Samalostasmakanchana. He is the same towards a clod of earth, a stone or a gold. A stone or gold. Tulya priya priyaha. He is the same in desirable and undesirable situations. Tulya nindatma stutihi. He is the same in censure and praise of himself by others. Yaha sama dukkha sukha. Swastaha samaloshta asma kanchanaha. Tulya priya apriya. Dhiraha tulya ninda atma samstutihi. The wise man abiding in himself is the same in pleasure and pain. He is the same towards a clod of earth, a stone or gold. He is the same in desirable and undesirable situations. He is the same in censure and praise of himself. So, with the previous two verses, Krishna has answered the first question. What is the indication of a gunatita? The indication is the objective acceptance of my own body, mind, sense complex. Now Krishna answers the second question in these two verses. The second question is, how does he respond to the worldly situations? The answer is same. Just as the body, mind, sense complex is made up of three fluctuating gunas, the entire world is made up of three gunas only. Therefore, you will have to interact with people who are sattvic, which will be happy interaction. You will have to interact with rajasic people, all the time tense and angry, irritable and all. And you will have to interact with tamoguna people. Those people will not move at all. Those people are highly lethargic. So, this is the situation. He has to, face all kinds of people with different guna domination. And therefore, he has to maintain the balance. So, dhiraha means a jnani is having a firm mind. He will not be, shaken. He is swastaha. Swastaha means he is in his real nature. He is always, keeping balance, or he is always having composure. He is always in his elements. That is what we call swastaha. So he always abides in gunatita atma swarupam. He is in the Atmanishta 24/7. And what do you mean by abiding in Atma? Does it mean that he is sitting on Atma? No. Abiding in Atma means not forgetting the fact that I am Gunatita, I am Purnaha, is equal to non-forgetfulness of his own nature. Just as a Sangeeta Vidwan, while performing his vocal performance, he will not forget this Shruti. He will have his ear on this Shruti. So he can, maintain his vocal performance in tune with the Shruti. In the similar way, a jnani will always have Atma Spruha. As Atma, as a higher self, he is always Gunatita. So a Gunatita will not have any problem with the local situation. So he can be equal. He can maintain that equality and equanimity in various situations. Samadukka Sukhaha. There is no resistance to the favorable and unfavorable situations which are inevitable in the life. So Desha, Kala, Prarabdha, these three things will affect our life all the time. Desha, if you are in tropical country, you are affected in one way. Means what? Through weather conditions, you have to face various extremities. Summer will be very hot. Winter will be very cold. So the extreme weathers you have to face. So you have to, have that forbearance. You have to have that samatvam in Desha. In Kala, as the time lapses, as the time passes away, one becomes old. And the Kala is the, great modifier. So an young person will become old in the passage of time. So these changes do occur without any kind of relaxation. So every person has to undergo these changes, the changes according to the time. His body will undergo change. His mind will undergo change. So all these changes he has to face. So he will maintain the balance. Samaha. Samalostasma kanchana. Samalostasma kanchana means he will have that equal priority for clod of earth, for a rock, that is for a stone, and for gold. So there are all three different things with different values, physical values. Gold is the most precious thing, and stone and clod of earth, they are of lower priority. But for a jnani, all the three are same, because he is having purnatvam. He doesn't require anything to make him full. He is already whole and complete. So with this completeness, he sees all the three equally. He doesn't require any one of them. He doesn't crave for any one of them. So he maintains balance. Tulya nindastutihi. So in times of criticism, people criticize, people insult, and there are certain occasions where they praise, and there are occasions where there are encomiums for him. A lot of honor will be there. So during such times, he will not float on air. In the times of insult, he will not go to depression. He will maintain his balance. Samaha. Samaha means what? Tulyaha. Atmaninda atmastutihi. So in times of insult, in times of honor, he maintains the balance. So he will not become bloated when there is honor. He will not feel totally depressed when somebody insults. So this is the stage. And in terms of sorrow, in the times of happiness, is the same. Tulya priya apriyaha. When there are things of his favor, when a favorable situation occurs, when an unfavorable situation takes place, he maintains the balance. He will not lose his temper when an unfavorable thing takes place. When a favorable things takes place, he will not feel that he is on the highest plane. There are three situations are given, and one example is given. Dukkha and Sukha, he is same. Priya and Apriya, he is same. Ninda and Stuti, he is same. He treats Loshta, Asma and Kanchana equal. Loshta means a cloud of earth. Asma means a stone. Kanchana means gold. Two Jnanis were going in a forest. They are, wife and husband. So husband is going a bit forward and wife is following him. So as they were going, husband saw a diamond shining right in front of him on the ground. So immediately he walked fast and, he just stamped the diamond so that his wife will not see that. Wife observed this and she said to the husband, "Do you think I am attracted by diamond? So I am Purnaha. When I am Purna, I don't require anything to fill me, anything to complete me. I am already whole and complete." This is what the wife explained to the husband. So this is the story. They talk about Jnanis. So Jnani will not care about a precious thing, nor will he, ignore or, undermine lower things. So for him, everything is same. This is the idea. Then the next sloka also will be in the same lines. Let us see that 25th sloka. Manavamanayo's tulyaha tulyo mitrari pakshayoh sarvaramba parityagi gunatitas savutyate. In this, the definition of Gunatita is given. So he is same in mana and apamana, in times of honor, in times of dishonor. This is already mentioned in a different tone in the previous sloka. Tulyaha mitra aripakshayoh. So towards a friend and a foe, he is having the same temperament. Sarvaramba Parityagi is the renouncer of all actions. Saha, that very Gunatita, that very Jnani. So Saha, such a person who is having this kind of equal and equanimity in all extremes, who treats the extremes equal, Saha Uchyate Gunatitaha is said to be Gunatita. Yaha Mana Avamanayoho Tulyaha. For whom Manam and Apamanam are same. Mitra Aripakshayoho Tulyaha. For whom a friend and a foe are same. Sarvaramba Parityagi cha asti, who renounces all actions. Saha Gunatitaha Uchyate. So such a person is said to be Gunatita. So he is the same in honor and dishonor. He is the same towards a friend and a foe. He is a renouncer of all actions. He is said to be Gunatita. Samatvam is further explained here. Mana apamanayoho tulyaha. Again, you cannot escape manam and apamanam. After all, your own family members, maybe your son, daughter, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, sambandhi, all those things, I may get honor or dishonor. So a Gunatita treats them equal. The difference between Ninda and Stuti and Mana Apamana, Ninda and Stuti is verbal level, Vachakam. Mana and Apamana is at the Kayakam level. Tulyaha, a Jnani treats them as Samaha. So, Mitra Aripakshayoho. Yaha Mitra Aripakshayoho Tulyaha. He will have same attitude towards a friend and towards an enemy, a foe. That means he will not rub shoulders with enemy. That is not the idea to be carried home. He will not hate an enemy. He will treat them with respect. Though he is an enemy, though that person wants to do harm, though that person thinks ill of him, he will not ill-treat him. He will give him the respect as he is giving respect to his own friend. So that's what we mean by Tulyaha. Mitra Aripakshayoho Tulyaha, he is same. Sarvaramba Parityagi means he will not take up binding works. So he will take up works only dharmic works and non-binding works. So because he is a Purna Purusha, he will not do a thing for Purnatvam. He will do a thing, he will take up a thing out of Purnatvam. For Loka Sangraham, he will take up activity. To attain Purnatvam, he will not take up a work in order to get Purnatvam. He knows that he is already Purnam. He is already whole and complete. He doesn't have any inadequacy in him. So, whatever the action he is doing is only for Loka Sangraham. So, Sarvaramba Parityagi means he is totally away from binding actions. Nobody is totally free from actions. It doesn't mean that he is doing zero action. Nobody can be totally free of actions. He will take up actions out of Purnat. So, he is Sarvaramba Parityagi. saha gunatita uchyate. So such person is called gunatitaha. So earlier some examples are given, now some examples are given. Mana and avamana, mitra and ari, then ninda and stuti. Then it is said that he is same in Loshta, Asma and Kanchana, in a clod of earth, then stone and gold, he is same. So that way, he maintains balance in all the three things. So such person is called Gunatitaha. Now, the 25th sloka is over, 26th sloka we are entering. This sloka talks about the sadhana of a Gunatitatvam. Manchayo vyabicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Saha yaha sevate, he who worships, mamcha, me alone, avyabicharena bhakti yogena, through the yoga of form devotion, kalpate, becomes fit, brahma bhuyaya, to attain the nature of Brahman, samatitya, by going beyond etan gunan, these gunas. Yaha mamcha avyabicharena bhakti yogena sevate saha etan gunan samatitya brahma bhuyaya kalpate. He who worships me alone through the yoga of form devotion becomes fit to attain the nature of Brahman by going beyond these three gunas. The third question is answered here. What is the third question? Gunatitatva sadhanam. What is the means of becoming gunatitaha? In fact, Arjuna should not have asked this question because Paramatma has already given this idea in sloka number 19 and sloka number 20. He said that jnanam is the only means of becoming gunatita. Paramatma already answered this. So we have to reframe this question. What is the means of becoming gunatita? Arjuna's third question is, what is the means of becoming gunatita? The means is only acquiring jnana. To become gunatita, one must acquire atma jnanam. Therefore, the present question can be redefined, can be understood as how to attain jnanam, by which one can become gunatita. This is how we can understand. The sadhana for gunatitatvam is to acquire atma jnanam. Krishna Paramatma says the means of jnanam is bhakti. So bhakti yoga consists of karma and upasana and jnanam. In the 12th chapter, we have seen this. 5 levels of bhakti. These 5 levels can be reduced into 3 levels. Karma rupa bhakti, upasana rupa bhakti, jnana rupa bhakti. Karma rupa bhakti can be understood as 2 different levels. One is sakama karma rupa bhakti. The second one is nishkama karma rupa bhakti. Then upasana can also be understood as 2 levels. Ekarupa Ishvara upasana, Anekarupa Ishvara upasana. Finally, jnana is arupa Ishvara nididhyasanam. That is the pinnacle. That is the parakashta. the zenith of the bhakti. So, a sadhaka must start with karma yoga and then proceed to upasana, then finally culminate in jnana, atma jnanam. This is the idea. So, the bhakti here means all four levels of bhakti. Here, Paramatma used a special phrase for bhakti, a special word for bhakti, avyabhicharena bhakti yogena, which means unflinching bhakti, which is a firm bhakti or devotion. What do you mean by avyabhichara bhakti? For that we have to go back to 7th chapter where Paramatma talked about 4 different kinds of bhakti. They are Artha bhakti, Ardharthi bhakti, Jijnasu bhakti, Jnani bhakti. Artha bhakti is SOS bhakti. Whenever the sadhaka is in problem, whenever a sadhaka faces a problem, he seeks Bhagavan's help. He remembers Bhagavan in the times of need. This is SOS bhakti, we call it. Artha bhakti. So 4 types of bhaktis are Artha bhakti, Ardharthi bhakti, Jijnasu bhakti and Jnana bhakti. Then Ardharthi bhakti is the bhakti where sadhaka offers some amount or some kind so that whatever he wants to achieve, he can achieve through Bhagavan's grace. So there is always a business between Bhagavan and the sadhaka. This is called business bhakti or Ardharthi bhakti. Then one has to grow beyond Artha bhakti and Ardharthi bhakti and escalate to Jijnasu bhakti. Sadhaka understands Jnanam. Atma Jnanam is the ultimate solution to become free from samsara. To come out of the shackles of samsara, one has to acquire Atma Jnanam. This is what he understood. So, he proceeds to Jijnasu bhakti. This Jijnasu bhakti here is Avyabhichari bhakti. That means unflinching bhakti, Ananya bhakti. Saha etan gunan samatitya. The person will certainly cross over all the 3 gunas. If he is having that Jijnasu bhakti, then he will automatically cross over the 3 gunas. Because he will be going through all the levels of sadhana, consisting of karma, consisting of upasana. The final level of bhakti is Vedanta Sravana Manana Nididhyasana. This should be kept in mind very firmly. Going through all the levels, Saha Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. He becomes fit and eligible to become one with Brahman. Brahma Bhuyaya means Brahma Bhavaha. Brahma Bhava means Brahma Surupam. He attains Brahma Surupam. So he knows that he is Brahma in reality. So that Brahma Surupam means Nirguna Surupam. Because Brahma is Nirguna. Nirguna Surupam means Gunatitatvam. Such a person will attain Jnana and become Gunatita. With this, all the 3 questions are answered. We'll just quickly see what are all the 3 questions. The first question is Gunatita Lingam. What are the characteristics? What are the indicators for a Gunatita? For this, Paramatma said, Gunatita character is to identify oneself with the Sakshi Chaitanyam, not with the body, mind, sense complex, not to have abhimana for body, mind, sense complex. Because he knows that he is Sakshi Chaitanya. His reality is the witnessing consciousness, not the body, mind, sense complex. This he realized. That is the very character, that is the very indicator that he is a Gunatita. Then, Gunatita Acharaha. Gunatita Acharam is Sarvatra Samadarsanam. In the pair of opposites, he feels Samatvam. So this is the Gunatita Acharam. Then coming to the last question, what is the sadhana to become Gunatita? For this, Paramatma has given, one must have unflinching bhakti, ananya bhakti on God, then only that person can become Gunatita. This unflinching bhakti is nothing but Jijnasu bhakti. This is what we have analyzed. So, we will conclude this with the 27th sloka. Brahmano hi pratishtaham amrutasya vyavasya cha sasvatasya cha dharmasya sukasya ekantikasya cha aham hi pratishta. I am indeed the basis. Avyayasya, of the changeless. Cha amrutasya, immortal. Brahmanaha. Cha amrutasya, am the immortal. Brahmanaha, saguna brahmana. Sa cha sasvatasya, dharmasya, the eternal dharma. Cha ekantikasya sukasya, and unconditional ananda. Amrutasya avyayasya cha brahmanaha. Sasvatasya cha dharmasya ekantikasya sukasya cha hi aham pratishta asmi. I am indeed the basis of the changeless, immortal Brahman. The eternal dharma and unconditional ananda I am. Here Paramatma says, hey Arjuna, that very Brahma which you want to attain, which is Gunatitam, is none other than I myself. So I am not the ordinary Devaki Nandana Krishna. I myself am the embodiment of Brahman. Ahameva Brahmana Pratishta. I am the embodiment of Brahma. Packed Brahman I am. Packed in what? Packed in Krishna Sariram. What type of Brahma I am? The description of his nature is mentioned in this sloka. Amrutasya, which is immortal. Avyayasya, which is decay free, which is free from jara, maranam, and sasvatasya, which is ever changeless. So the three words put together gives the meaning Amrutasya. Amrutasya is avyayasya, sasvatasya, apakshasya, rahitasya. That means which is free from all modifications. Kalatitasya iti ardha, which is kalatitasya iti ardha, which is beyond the time. And dharmasya means in this context one whose goal is dharma. And the word dharma means Vedic teaching. Dharmasya means Vedic dharma prapyasya, one whose destination is the scriptures and its sadhanas, one whose destination is scriptural learning and the sadhana. Ekantikasya sukasya, that which is Ananda Surupa, which is unmixed with sorrow. Ekantikasya means, unlike the worldly pleasures which are mixed with pain, Brahma is Ananda Surupa. Brahma I am, and that I you will reach by following the sadhana. So, Paramatma concludes his teaching this way. So, the sum and substance is, if you understand the real nature, you will become Gunatita. And the real nature is already described by various words like Amrutasya, Avyayasya, Sasvatasya, Dharmasya, Ekantikasya, Sukasya, like that. So, once you realize your real nature and you own up all these gunas, then you become Gunatitaha. So, with this we are concluding Chapter 14, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yogam. And in the next class, we will take up the 15th chapter, Purushottama Prapti Yogam. It is also called Purushottama Yogam. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Gunatraya Vibhaga Yogo Nama Chaturdasodhyayaha. With this, we have concluded 14th chapter. In the next class, I will take up the summary of 14th chapter. Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudatyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.